Yeah.
So watching Johnny do what he does is all those Pro 4 guys is going to be amazing. So it's going to be great.
Ken, I'll ask you the same question. You know, you're very familiar with this race and the guys who are racing in it. Who are you looking to shine this weekend?
Well, of course, Marty's very knowledgeable in the game as well, so the names that he threw out there are certainly trucks to watch. One guy that seems to come in here and steal the thunder from time to time comes from short course off-road racing royalty, and that's R.J. Anderson. So Anderson, RJ, and I think RJ qualified on the pole, if I'm not mistaken, yesterday in the Pro 4 category. His younger brother, Ronnie's very talented in the Pro 2. They only go to a couple of races a year, but they are both wheelmen for sure and can absolutely get it done. And RJ has no love lost for CJ. So he wants to go right after him, and he will tell you, yes, I have a plan. So, and he's a great dude. He's a funny guy, lighthearted, but, man, when he gets in the truck, he's there for real. So I would keep our eyes on R.J. Anderson. He'll be tough competition. Jimmy Henderson, as he talked about, I think to dive a little bit deeper into that scenario, we just lost Kyle LeDuc, who passed away. Of course, we actually retired his number last night. We had the Hall of Fame and the Golden Ticket dinner here at Crandon. Retired his number, and Rick Huseman, who we lost in 2011. But going back to Kyle LeDuc, his crew chief, Trad, is now on Jimmy Henderson's truck. And those two were already collaborating, Kyle and Jimmy, to work together. And then when Kyle passed, his team kind of morphed over to Jimmy's team. So there's a lot of that thought and technology that has worked its way over to Jimmy Henderson's truck. Oddly enough, Jimmy doesn't drive anything like Kyle, so it's been a work in progress to try and get him comfortable in truck. But he's won some races. He's very, very fast. So looking forward to see how he does. Obviously, as he talked about, Johnny Greaves, near 60, just inducted into the Hall of Fame. He is, speaking of short course off-road royalty, and he's been with Toyota for 30 years. What an incredible relationship there. He's been sponsored by the Potawatomis, Potawatomi Turn 1, right? So he's been a big part of that. And, of course, CJ is changing the record books right in front of our eyes as we speak. He has an opportunity to win 3 championships this year. Every class that he's competing in, he's leading in the points in every one. That's never been done before. So yeah, that Greaves family is incredible. Mickey Thomas, as he talked about, very fast. I was impressed by Kyle Greaves, which is the cousin of CJ. It's Johnny's brother's son. So Kyle Greaves in Pro 2 qualified on the pole yesterday.
Right.
So, and I was shocked because he has been around 3rd, 4th place, brand new to the class in Pro 2, but he jumped up and laid down a lap at the end of the session yesterday. So looking forward to seeing Kyle step up and really battle with those guys. Ryan Beat is another player, led in the points a lot this year in Pro 2. He brought in, courtesy of Marty Fiocca here, he brought Brian Deegan back in. So Brian Deegan's in one of his trucks. So they've got a powerhouse team underneath that tent as well. I mean, and I think, I didn't look at the final count, but I want to say 28 Pro 2s. Does that sound right?
I don't think that many, but there's
a pile of Pro 2s.
Yeah.
And, of course, that's also going to change the game in the big cup race because the Pro 4s have to fight through all of those Pro 2s to get up to the front. So it's going to be an exciting weekend.
So just to explain what that cup race is basically on Sunday we run Pro 2 and Pro 4 Saturday. We run them first thing Sunday morning, and that's part of the MAV TV block we've got going live. And then the races go on, but Sunday after the end, the finale is when we have a Pro 2 and Pro 4 race. And it started at Crandon, this cup-style racing. It's amazing to watch. It's exciting. But basically, we start the Pro 2s with a staggered start. You know, they figure out the lap times, and then in a 10-lap race, no competition cautions. This is a full-on deal.
Yep.
The Pro 4s then are trying to catch the Pro 2s.
Yep.
And the action and the closing rates and the things you're seeing with the Pro 4s rotating, 50, 80 yards. I think actually I haven't measured it, but I think that's right. Ahead of the corner where they're backing in, they're coming in the corner. The Pro 2s are sitting there trying to get traction. The Pro 4s come up inside them, and they have traction because they're four-wheel drive. Amazing to watch. Just amazing. I can't wait for you guys to watch this because it's so good. Well, you've seen it, Ken, but you haven't.
Yeah, I had the good fortune last night of getting a tour of his pit with R.J. Anderson, and he took me through the Pro 4, the Pro 2, and the UTV trucks and showed me the different nuances to each truck. And so hearing you say that he qualified on pole, I guess I went right to the top guy,
yeah, you did.
which is great. RJ, like you said, great guy, very, very knowledgeable. took me through the trucks, as I said, and so I'm really looking forward to him racing. And he was talking about that aspect where the Pro 2s go out first, and they're really like they're being chased by the cops behind them.
And then how much? Then the whole but there's a whole scenario in there where even our Faye, our starter, has to kind of figure out. It's not just time; it's also what's the dirt. Like, what's the dirt? Is it moist? Are we drying? It's always constantly changing. It's like the Indianapolis Motor Speed. If you watch qualifying for Indy, say what time of day is it? We got headwind, we got tailwind, we have crosswinds. What's the track temperature? It's all that Faye's got to try to figure. So they technically, he's gotten close where they should be across the finish line equally. But then throw in the traffic, the slower guys, the faster guys. It's this wild crapshoot. So it's a highlight of a weekend full of highlights. And, it doesn't matter if you're running just a sportsman buggy guy. Everything's about being a Crandon. It's the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for this sport. It's Labor Day weekend. We're in the middle of America. It has a lot of the same vibe. I spent a lot of time in Indianapolis working with the Nissan Motorsports team back in the day and the IRL, and I learned a lot, like watching how they did it, and just trying to bring a flavor of that here. And it's never at that level, but it's not 325,000 people, but for a town of 1,600, 60,000.
It grows exponentially over this weekend.
It
Population about 1,800 and grows to 60,000 for this weekend.
Yeah,
it's quite the effect. One of the things that I love about this weekend is that nostalgia class, the VWs. Talk about those. I mean, it's just such a throwback to the old school Baja days. I love seeing them.
Yeah, so let's talk. You and I are air cool guys. We know this, right? Porsches, Volkswagen.
Yep.
My background, I know about the car you had, Porsche. So Class 11 has always been around. I mean, it's been around since the early 70s. I think Mickey Thompson actually kind of invented the class, and he built a bug for Riverside Raceway. And guys went well because they could run a bug. Well, it's kind of grew and grew, and then I saw it like there's more guys doing this. I think we should invite them here to Crandon. And I remember the first time Cliff Flannery, who you'll meet later, who's the president of the track, the owner of the track. He's a big bear of a guy. But he always cuts right to it. Like, Marty, what are you bringing them damn bugs for? What are those things? I said, Cliff, just wait. You're telling me you're going to run a Volkswagen? I said, Cliff, just wait. So I'm watching the first, and you were maybe here. I don't know if that was the first time. So we're sitting there on Friday night, which tonight we'll watch them. And I said, Cliff, watch the hill. Just watch the hill. And we're sitting there on the podium, and sure enough, there's 30 of these things coming down into turn one. All of a sudden, he's starting to laugh, but he's seeing all the kids. And all the wives, and even everybody's like freaking out. These little jelly beans rolling down, But they're real race cars for what they are.
Yep.
But it was just a instant crowd thing. And the thing that's been great about them, they're coming from California, some out of Baja, but they're starting to build them here, and the guys are buying them from them and building new ones. They're part of the Nitrocross series now with Travis Pastrana. They're a thing, and they're a crowd favorite. It's a throwback. And they're really racing, but there's always that sense of kind of wackiness going on too. It's been a great addition. And our business is to entertain fans. We are in the entertainment business, and we can't forget that. And this 55 years of Crandon has been supported largely by Midwest sportsmen specifically. But there was a time the Red Bull Cup was created because there was an East and West Coast series, and the West Coast guys had forgotten what this meant. So we worked with Red Bull, made Sunday a separate day. We created our own balance of performance like IMSA has, where we could balance out the trucks, restrictor plates, weights, tires, whatever it was, so we could get close. Well, then as soon as Kyle LeDuc was the first one to kind of step out, I'm going back to Crandon. Well, then R.J. Anderson came back, Bryce Menzies came back, and all of a sudden everybody remembered what it was like to have 16 trucks, like Pro 2s or Pro 4s on the grid, or 20 trucks instead of 8 or 6. Then it became something, and that's kind of been the 9-year history of how this place, and specifically Sunday, the World Cup Sunday, brought this. We needed a Super Bowl, and before that, Chris, you had this thing where winning a championship was everything. Well, that's true, but nobody had one race they remembered, but now they do, and so it's no different than Indianapolis, Daytona, whatever it is, Le Mans. Each race genre has its own Super Bowl, and we have one here. So.
Yeah, you mentioned Kyle LeDuc once again. It was nice to see his brother Todd LeDuc at it last night. Another guy, who's very deep into Monster Jam series. Obviously, that's how I first met him. So that kind of brings it back around to that real family experience. You've got the Greaves, you've got the Andersons, you've got the LeDucs. This really is off-roading is a real kind of family feel event, and I think Crandon really is a nice kind of emblematic of that, of the whole sport,
Right.
which is why you say it really is the Super Bowl weekend of off-road racing.
Yeah, it is really family oriented, and there's a lot of people that the Kincaids as well. You got to work them, and the Connoisseurs that were huge, the Holchers that are here. Trucks in every category, and their families and kids, and it is super cool to watch what has happened. We just had at that ceremony you're speaking of last night, and Todd, of course, Todd a champion in his own right, and short course out of mountain biking, a lot more than everybody knows him now, as you talked about from Monster Jam. It's really, really put him on the map. But he's extremely talented. He was, I want to say, pro-level mountain bike racer at one time. So, and he's on the radio. He's a spotter for Adrian Chinney. I'm sure he's spotting for other people as well. So he's super talented. It's great to have him out here for sure. But, yeah, watching everybody, the people at Crandon last night, the Flannerys and Marty, gave Tom and Ruth Schwartzberg they honored them with this rifle. It's a really prestigious thing from Crandon. And he's been here for 53 of 55 years.
Racing.
It's an incredible story. Yeah, wow. Racing. And he's going to race here one more time. He's 81 years old. He's going to race in pro buggy one more time.
On Sunday, you see this 82 guy hitting those jumps, and he doesn't worry about being competitive, but he loves doing it. And the gun tradition is something that Cliff started too. Very Midwest, but the guns are made here in Wisconsin. They're Henry rifles. There's a Golden Boys, and so Cliff always thought, I'm going to give a top gun to the guy winning the Cup race on Sunday, which he's done. And we've had various people thinking, well, you're giving away a gun, and that's fine. I remember one time the first iteration with Red Bull was like, Marty, you can't give away a gun. I said, yeah, we can, and we will. There's just traditions here that cannot be moved. We have this great story. We have a ride truck that's a dump truck that has seats in the back. So we give rides between rounds. And I remember a series came in, because there's been a few, and the first time they came, one of the people who run this series said, what is that thing? I said, it's a ride truck. He said, what do you mean? I said, we give rides to people, kids, between races, on the racetrack? Yeah, on the racetrack. Between races, yeah. At night, yeah. Yeah, that's what we do. That's a ride. So it's amusement.
Full transparency, that truck gets around pretty good.
No, it does. Yeah, our driver. No, this is a full.
This is
an amusement park ride. So the guy goes, well, we can't allow that. So we're not going to really make that happen. I said, listen, you will allow it, or you can take your series and leave. What do you mean? I said, right now, because that is not changing. You cannot change certain things here. Yes, they're a little bit on the edge, but Crandon, when I first got here, I was like overly polishing it from other race series, or even I'm from California, so a little California-ish too much, where it's like, wait a minute, I can polish a diamond, but at the bottom of the cheese curds and the moonshine has to be here too.
Exactly.
It's got to be both of it,
That's
Chris.
the foundation.
Well, it is, and if you go out to things have evolved and things have changed, and the pits, or the campgrounds, I should say, that used to be, and the pits, used to be lots of tents, converted school buses, that type of thing. It's all fifth wheels now. It's a lot more of that. But at the end of the day, what makes Crandon is what makes Crandon.
And, it's funny, you mentioned the gun giveaway, and Henry is the company that manufactures the gun. We were listening to local radio driving up from Green Bay last night, and sure enough, we heard a Henry advertisement on the radio. So it really is ingrained into Crandon, ingrained into the state of Wisconsin. It's so very appropriate that should be a giveaway honoring someone who's participated for so long.
Did that freak you out a little bit or not?
No, not at all. No.
Well, it's okay.
We're in Wisconsin, man.
That's it. Now you've been around. There's lots of
I'm from Chicago, so I'm from the Midwest.
That's right.
But Illinois and Wisconsin are distinctly different.
Is that no commercials like that in Burbank?
No, not that I've heard. I don't really listen to local Burbank radio.
No, but that is a constant theme. I come up here at the end of after Memorial Day, I haul up my Airstream, and this is what I do all summer. I always say I'm like the Gold Rush guys. I come up with a trailer and go get to the Klondike and go mine some stuff and come home. And thankfully, my wife Susan is very, very supportive of that. I didn't see her for 3 months this summer, getting ready for all this. But but the constant thing is, I can't believe the difference in mentality, the difference of the Midwest, the difference of the Northwoods. We have 500 or 600 miles of side-by-side trails right in front of the racetrack. You can go anywhere.
Yeah.
The camping. You want to go shoot guns? We hear gunshots once in a while. We want to shoot out fireworks? They got fireworks, like fireworks around. You can go buy at the store with safety goggles.
Yeah.
You see a big box of fireworks with safety goggles. How great is that?
You got to prep. You got to prep for the potential danger. We were talking about family. We got to talk about the ultimate family, the family that started this whole thing, the Flannery family. Literally built the track
Yes.
so many years ago, 50-plus years ago.
Yeah, so Cliff Flannery was part of the original group that started racing. It was a 25-mile loop through the forest. It was we saw the Brush Run 101.
Yes.
It's 100 miles, and then there was another thing at the end that added a big mud bog. But it was through the forest. We've done the trails. It's like these forest roads. There's no room to pass. I don't know what they were racing, but they were racing clapped out Volkswagen, some, but like pipe cars and Jeeps and whatever they had. But Cliff Flannery's been around since then. And originally was a board of directors that kind of came together to build this. And it was more of a community thing, but Cliff was always around. And then it was a not-for-profit club for a long time until about 3 years ago when the original board had decided they'd put in their time. One of the last remaining ones was Tom May, who also retired last night. A great group of guys that just can do logging. And they built Crandon out of a farm that literally they had no plan. There was no master plan that said, oh, we're going to put this building here. Oh, Marty. Like right now, if I had a chance, I'd move the racetrack 100 yards north away from to give us more space, right? It doesn't matter. But each building was kind of, okay, this is a summer project. This is what we're going to, so they get the guys, and the Flannerys were into construction and into trucking, so that allowed them to get help. And then Cliff, decided he wanted to pass that down to his family, to Jason, the grandkids, and they did a couple years ago. They were able to do that, and it's great to have a younger generation here, but this place is built on volunteers, hard work. I mean, it sounds like the American ethic, but it really is. There's just you can't get away from it. You can try to manufacture that story, right? That's that story, but you can't.
You can't. You don't invent what they have here in Crandon.
No.
I mean, this is a true slice of Americana, and coming into the Main Street area of Crandon, when you make that turn off of the highway out there, it's almost like a sigh. It's like,
it really is.
it's very comfortable.
Here,
How have things changed in your many years of coming here?
I think that's the beauty of it. It hasn't. This hasn't changed. I mean, this Main Street parade, there's more cars, there's more people, but I love the fact that it's so authentic down here. It's still Crandon. It's the same Crandon that I came to in 2002. Now, the racetrack, massively different. I mean, just a ton of additions. The manufacturer's Midway that Marty put together and what they did. I mean, you walk in, you see TRD. You want to see this display is incredible. I think it took them 3 days to put it up. But to have the manufacturer involvement there now is huge. But every year there's something new. There's a new addition. It's bigger. It's better. The race cars that we were talking about before, I was there up through 2008. And then I wasn't there for about 10 years. And I came back. Marty called me and came back. I think it was 2021. And I was like, oh, my goodness. I mean, there's cars outside of the gate, the overflow parking lot areas where race teams are now. So just so many more race cars than what there was, 9 or 10, 11 years that I had been there. So it grows every year, like he was talking about. It's the Mac Daddy race. It's the one, if you can only go to one, this is the one you're going to.
Yeah, and Marty, talk a little bit about the Crandon experience, because it's not just Main Street, it's not just the track, it's this kind of village or community that you've created behind the track where everybody comes and camps. I mean, we were driving through there last night. It's incredible. It's like a Woodstock.
And that was only Thursday night. It'll get better tonight. But no, the real key to all this, there's one key: camping. Because on the West Coast we did racing, and they expected fans to come in and out for 2 days, a Saturday and Sunday. But that doesn't, especially the West Coast was so much, it doesn't work. Here, this is a commitment. You're coming Wednesday. You're setting up at the same campground with your same friends, and you're staying until Monday now. Nobody's leaves. So the idea, especially now that you have campers instead of tents, it's much more comfortable. So now there's a sense of community. Then you add things like music. And we were fortunate in 2019 to have Kid Rock for the 50th. We had KISS last year with a partnership with the Potawatomi community, the Potawatomi Casino down in Milwaukee. And then you add that. And then you just add the off-road, and then you add the side-by-sides. That's another component that adds to the accessibility of this whole lifestyle that now people really understand. So
don't forget the slip and slide.
I can't talk. Remember, we don't officially condone or deny that there is a slip and slide.
Our lawyers have advised us to neither confirm nor deny the existence of the slip and slide.
Or confirm or deny the clothing is optional after 10 p.m. So yes, that exists too. But that's all part of it.
That's great, man. It is such a vibe here this entire weekend. And again, thank you for joining us here on the app. And if you've never been to Crandon before, you got to get here. Doesn't even matter if you're an off-road fan or not. Just coming here and having this experience will turn you into an off-road fan. Marty Fiolka, thanks for joining
thank you
us
guys.
here on the live stream and giving us all that great information. And I'm not sure if we've got Pam Hall teed up for a roaming interview. We do not. Okay, so we're going to vamp for a little while longer here. So, Ken, let's talk favorite memories of Crandon. Do you have one in particular that's a favorite memory?
My favorite memory of Crandon was sitting inside of the race truck. I had tested here one time. The race truck that we shared, it was in the Pro Lite class. It was owned by Art Schmidt, who was factory Nissan at the time. And he provided an opportunity for Marty and I to share the truck. I drove the first part of the season. Marty drove the second part of the season. I tested here, and I flipped the truck in the gravel pit, ripped the seat out of the mounts, hit my head on the roll cage, knocked myself out. It was a crazy ride. So, of course, the test session was over at that point. And the next time I came back was for the race. So I'm sitting on the starting line, and I kind of talked about this story a little bit last night. Kyle LeDuc was in the Kyle LeDuc won the championship that year in Pro Lite. So Kyle LeDuc was sitting beside me because he was late for the driver's meeting. He missed a roll call. So they made him start in the back row. So I'm sitting beside Kyle LeDuc, and he looks over and he says, "Follow me." And I looked back, and I gave him a gesture, and I said, "No, you can follow me." Well, I threw the green flag, and, of course, he took off. I never saw him again. But I went down. It was a big land rush start. You know, you're a quarter mile away from turn one, and it was off camber, and it's, 7 trucks wide. And I remember driving down through there. I couldn't see anything from the roost and the mud because I was in row 2. And I reached up. I forgot I had tear-offs. I reached up. I wiped it off with my glove. I'm like, oh, it worked pretty good. Well, the second wipe, your glove is muddy, so now it doesn't work at all. And I can't see. I mean, I literally cannot see, and I'm trying to make my way through turn 1, and you go over the jump. And it dawned on me, I got tear-offs. So I reached up, I pull a tear-off. I'm like, oh, that's
Whoa,
awesome.
That works.
But as soon as I do it, it goes, pow, pow, pow. You get hammered again. So I went all the way through, and I make it around, to the gravel pit. Somewhere in the middle of all that, my spotter says, "You're clear, you're clear." And I feel the truck rock. I mean, like this big, big rock. I was like, man, it didn't feel clear, but I was pulling a tear off, so I didn't see what had happened. So I go by, and I don't see anything, but my truck is tore up, like the front fender's the hood's flying up. I'm like, I don't know what happened, man. I'm just trying to hang on. So I went through turn 1, first lap at Crandon. I never saw a thing. They said, what was it like? I don't know. I never saw turn 1. So I come back around. It's a local caution. And I said to my spotter on the radio, I said, dude, somebody was in a hell of a wreck over here. He says, yeah, it was you, dude. So there was a guy that had gone up, and I think it was Pike. I think it was Pike had gone up and hit the outside wall, and he started flipping it, but he was up in the air, so I couldn't see him. And literally hit my A-pillar. I mean, just smashed it. It was all concaved in and ripped the right side of the fiberglass off of the truck. And yeah, there's stuff all over the track. So, yeah, I made it through turn 1, never saw it, was in a wreck, never saw that. Kept going, made it to the end of the race. I was still pit reporter at the time, so I got to the end of the race, pulled to the infield, and I said, I don't know who won the race. I was nowhere close, so you got to clue me in on who I'm interviewing. But that's my favorite story, Crandon.
They say it's difficult to lead a race. Sounds like it's even more difficult to be in the very back of the pack in a race. There's a lot going on. Marty, same question. Favorite memory of Crandon?
First time. Came with Road and Track magazine, did a story on Art Schmidt. He was a Nissan factory guy, and it was just his wide-eyed looks. This was in the late 90s, and the promoter at the time was this crazy guy, Doug Davis. Crazy, like I'm like the mellow kind of professional promoter. He was the wild child, like staying up all night with sponsors, getting him, doing all the stuff. So he gave us a golf cart, and my main photographer Boyd Janes and I went to what's called Jurassic Park, and we had never seen these California boys had never seen anything like this, and it just but it was something so special about it. That was the pinnacle memory of it, but it was all of it. Just like we drove up from Green Bay, and every town we went to there was maybe a gas station or maybe a laundromat. There were 5 bars, like every one. Like these people, that's because that's what they do in the winter.
They watch side by side.
And they watch not even this is 90, but they literally are going there in the middle of Packer season to watch. In the winter, that's what they're doing. We never seen that before, so it was a lot of that. That was probably my favorite memory. For getting us the 50th, bringing Kid Rock in, you can imagine the logistics of all that. That was by far a highlight. Now it's gotten taken, but that was the next elevation to where we are now. That was everybody said you can't top that. Yeah, we can, and it's kind of worked.
Is it easier now to bring in talent like Kid Rock and Kiss last year because the event has become so prestigious?
No, it's all about being sure they can pay them. It's all about the money. You have the money or you don't.
Right.
And that's a little flip. I shouldn't say that. But that's the baseline. But they've seen now if we can successfully, and we have. So let's say Kid Rock, we brought in, I think about 10,500 is the number. So and Kiss was right about 11,300 or 4. Those numbers in an area where nobody can stay, where nobody knows, are very successful numbers. Now, we're looking at expanding that into our June race, because we race here twice, making June more of a side-by-side Sturgis music festival with racing, because that's the ultimate, right? And I think we're gonna get there with some help, certainly here with the Potawatomi community to try to do that. But we're, it's just a very fortunate situation and when you get deeper and deeper, Chris, it dissecting the layers of how this all really works. You think you know until you really know, and it's a very unique situation. It doesn't exist anywhere else, for sure.
Well, I think now we do have Pam Hall teed up with an interview with a very special guest, and we were talking about prestigious families associated in the off-roading community, and Pam is standing by with one of them. Pam?
Cars are right behind us, but Kurt LeDuc, you have been an iconic name out here. You're an Off-Road Motorsports Hall of Fame inductee, but let's talk about you for a minute, because you've been racing here for a long time, many, many years, and now you went through your children and now your grandkids. So Kurt, give us a rundown of your feelings about Crandon, how you started out here and now seeing your grandkids.
Well, 1984 was the first year for me. And, Crandon, as you can see, it's Americana. Not every town has a racetrack, but, we all have families, and they all come down here to Crandon. Generations like me, my son Kyle and Todd ran here. I've run here. We've all won world championships. And now we're building champions out of these young grandkids, right, Addie? Yeah. Yes. And so, we're struggling, and to honor Kyle, Amber wanted the cars wrapped, the chrome bodywork, and so it's special to be here. This is the big house.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Exactly. The big house. Everybody that knows about the big house, this has been on their bucket list. They want to come here, and some of them do make it out here themselves. But Addie out on the track yesterday, and Reed as well. Reed is out walking around enjoying the parade. But it's got to be heart-wrenching to see your grandkids now out here. You just touched on it. But do you go and do you work on their cars with them? Do you spot for either one of them to pass down the knowledge that you have?
Oh, absolutely. Jimmy Henderson's been helping Reedy and Addie. We've been teaching right from left, right? Which way is right, Addie? That's right. So, it's important in a race car to control it. And, we've had some good days and some bad days, and we all work really hard. And, we're hoping to get champions someday out of these grandkids.
Well, Kurt LeDuc, thank you so much for chatting with us. We are going to go back to the booth, but out there with your grandkids, super proud to watch. I've been watching them as well, so super excited for them, and thank you so much, and it's great to see you.
Awesome. Thank you for being here, Pam.
Back to the booth.
Thanks for that, Pam. Really appreciate it. And we'll be going back to her a little bit later in the show. We appreciate all of you guys joining us here on the live stream. And right now it is time for us to take a very quick break, but stick around. We'll be back in just a couple minutes with much more from Crandon, Wisconsin. Well, guys, we are still live on the app, and I'm here with Ken Stout and Marty Fiolka. Can we refer to you as the Godfather of Crandon? No. What sort of title should we associate with you over the rest of this weekend?
Friend and promoter is fine.
Friend and promoter.
Or if you can do that, or go all the way to Overlord. There's no in between. No.
I was kind of referring to that with the Godfather, but Overlord's even better.
Yeah, I like that better. Yeah. I'm not Italian, so I'll take Overlord. No, we like I said, there's a lot. The thing that this place has done, which I've adopted, which I think now eclipsed now, is the fact this place has done a lot with a few people. Like we literally saw this morning, the Flannerys were here. I was here at 6 o'clock. They were loading up trucks, bringing the trailer down, putting up signs down on Main Street. We're getting ready for that. We had the thing we put out on last night, the event that you were at last night, Chris. And then we get back, and right away, we're going into racing, and then we're, it gets a little bit easier. But they go from here to there. This trailer goes back to the racetrack for tonight, and then they jump on their equipment to groom the track. There's not staff of crew here.
Yeah.
There are a few people who are just, what do we need? And they get a phone call. I need this, need that. And no, so I'm just a part of the team.
What sort of impact does the World Cup have on the town of Crandon?
So we're going to bring up Chris Schaefer here in a bit, who's the head of the Chamber of Commerce. And he's been around, and he is of the absolute mindset that this community and this county would not survive without this race and this racetrack and this weekend. If you go down this road, the biggest weekend they've had, the biggest day they have is right here today. These businesses survive on today.
That's
in a lot
great
of ways.
that an event like this can support a town like Crandon, and I'm sure they really appreciate it. I mean, how can you not? Just the sights that I'm seeing in both directions along Main Street is just absolutely amazing. And we want to welcome everybody back to our live stream here. And I'm sitting with Ken Stout and Marty Fiolka, and we're just talking really about the town of Crandon and what a great preservation of Americana this town is, and the wonderful impact that this race and the off-roading community has on the town of Crandon. And as you were saying while we were in break, we're going to actually have the Chamber of Commerce representative come up and talk about that. Have you ever been to Crandon besides August or June? What's it like? What's it like then?
When it's minus 20 and there's a 50, and then there's wind chill on top of that, I have no idea how or why these people choose to live that life. I get it, and they have their ice fishing, and I've tried that, and it doesn't work with my ADD brain at all. but I have, and the fall here is beautiful. The spring is wet. The summer here is spectacular, and I live this great life where I live in Orange County, California for the rest of the year, and I get to come here for the summer, and it's great. But yeah, it's a unique experience when you're out in the snowmobile and you have this giant suit on and trying to stay warm. And like I said, this is what these wonderful people here know. That's their life.
Yep.
And that's what they wouldn't want to be in the traffic where we are,
no.
where you and I are. Or,
right.
They wouldn't understand the beach or surfing. That's not what they do.
Right.
So, but they do this, and they do it better than all of us Californians coming here to trying to do it.
Well, as a Midwestern native, October, late September and October are some of the most spectacular months of the year because all of the leaves are changing color.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about that last night on the drive from Green Bay to Crandon. As you're seeing the the trees in the distance, what that must look like in October.
Oh,
just
it's
absolutely
beautiful.
amazing.
So when you go to the top of our Camp 3, which is the very top, and one year in COVID, we were able to run in Wisconsin. So we took our June race and put it at the end of September, ran here Labor Day. And by that time, in 30 days from now, the trees and it's as good as New Hampshire or New England, and it's the same. And you're sitting there going, man, this is just beautiful. The weather's the fall in the Midwest is beautiful too. And you see so that's what's crazy about the racetrack. When you're used to doing West Coast, and Ken, you know this, when you do the Lucas Oil Series back in the day, whatever, it's all dirt. Everything's dirt. Well, here, the only thing that dirt is the dirt, the racetrack. Everything else is grass. So we'll see. Hopefully the weather's going to be nice here this weekend, and certainly Saturday and Sunday. When it's sunny and we're filming and the grass is green, it's the field of dreams, man. It looks beautiful. And that's a complete different mindset that where we're from as well.
If somebody wanted to get into off-road racing, what happens the rest of the year at the Crandon track? Is it open for people to race on?
No, it's not. Yes, you can test, and we have a race in June, the Forest County Brush Run races that we have in June, which is the part of the Amsoil off-road series. But no, we actually open that racetrack for 8 days a year. And that's the other thing when you're from a place like where we're from, where these facilities have to sustain themselves a lot. Here, at that time, the land was so inexpensive that they could afford the 400 acres that we're on, and not necessarily, and that's not just for Crandon, it's for like the Hodag Music Festival down the road, or the Iola Car Show that's not very far from here, where got these amazing facilities that are basically exist on 3, 4, 5 days. And we are as well. It took a minute to understand that, but the facility's so big that if you try to do anything else and there's 5,000 people, it doesn't look like anybody's there. So we're trying to make our June race bigger. I think we're very happy with what that way that business. We always were talking with Red Bull potentially with ice racing, doing a snow event. That's what Cliff Flannery would like to see. But again, we had not much. We had 3 days of snowmobiling this year. Yeah. Up here, so that's not a guarantee either. Right. So we'll see. But right now, it's a matter of honing.
Sometimes the weather doesn't always cooperate. Yeah, it's a matter of providing enough snow.
Yeah, but it's a matter of literally like shaping the sphere, like honing the sphere to make what we have better. Right. That's the focus.
Yeah, I actually asked that question to see if there was a possibility of some sort of ice racing in the future. So I'm glad that you answered that. Let's talk a little bit about the here and now. What's happening today, Ken Stout? As we look left and we look right down Main Street, it is just packed with people. What sort of things happen today here in Crandon?
Well, obviously, the parade will go on here till 12 o'clock, and then things will break up. Typically, us as a crew will head over to Charlie's and have some lunch on the lake. The lake is 10 minutes away, and a spectacular area to sit and relax and enjoy some grub. And then, of course, we go back to the racetrack, and there's going to be some racing tonight. Matter of fact, we have one of those cup races tonight. It was something that was started last year. The Pro Buggies and the Pro Lights will race against each other, very similar to the Pro 2s and Pro 4s that we will have on Sunday. We did that. Matter of fact, I was part of that. I was in a Pro Buggy in the first ever race. It was out on the West Coast. It was at Chandler, as I recall. And it's sketchy, dude. Like, if you're in a Pro Buggy, it's a little bit quicker typically. Well, they were back in the day because they were 4 cylinders, but now the V8s and the Pro Lights, they're right there.
Yeah, so the Pro Lights have to catch the Pro Buggies.
Right.
And there's a weight difference, and yes, there's definitely a touch of sketchiness. I'm not going to deny. We had a good crash last year, a big one, but it was so serious because the guy who crashed was the one who wanted to do this so bad, and he had a good one. And it was just a racing accident. It wasn't anything, but it was a good one. Wow. And I saw him there in the ambulance afterwards, and he was fine. He came out and said, dude, man, I'm so sorry. We'll never. No. He goes, no, Marty, don't say it. Don't say it. Get this thing back on the schedule. We're doing that again. I don't care. That was the most fun I ever had. But the fans, again, on the hill understand that the buggies are ahead of the trucks. They look different, so that it's a very easy visual thing to understand. It's pretty exciting. Tonight's going to be tonight at the Forest County Potty, Night of Thunder. Ultra 4 racing tonight on MAV TV. We've got that Class 11, and then the Pro Lite, Pro Buggy race. All great stuff for a Friday night, under the lights of Crandon. It's going to be good.
I'm glad that you mentioned that because I forgot to mention that earlier, that we do have racing tonight. And right now, I believe we have Pam Hall teed up with another interview. So back out into the crowd on Main Street. Pam, who you got?
I am here with Rodney Van Appen. Rodney, you have been racing here for multiple years. Your roots go deep here. Tell us about where you started out here in Crandon.
Yeah, we actually raced dirt bikes here a little bit. I was racing on an 80cc dirt bike. Johnny Greaves was on a big bike. Back then like 2003 Pro Lights. Then a kid wanted to get in racing, some kids parts. We got in Super Buggy, then Pro 2, and then 2016 Yamaha came out with the Yamaha YXZ1000. We got a Yamaha dealership, so we said, hey, let's get into the side-by-side market. So we've been on side-by-sides, I think, ever since 2017, and here we are. It's cool to see how this thing is growing and magnitude it's had. It's just the fans around here. The vibe is unbelievable.
100% agree with you on that. And let's talk about this. You just mentioned the kid. The kid started out in karts. How is it racing out on the track with your son, Owen?
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, to come in and talk about what we experienced on the track and just go at each other. We don't give each other an inch. We're not going to take each other out, but I want to beat him just as bad as he wants to beat me. But, yeah, you talk about memories. Even yesterday we were in the Yamaha R-Maxes and the Ultra 4 stuff, and we went on the same radio channel, and we were just talking to each other, going down the straightaways and stuff, and egging each other on. So priceless memories we're making here as a family, and to see all the fans supporting everything here, 55 years of what Crandon has done to this track, community, town is really unbelievable.
And let's talk about the Ultra 4. So you guys get a lot of seat time between the short course racing and the Ultra 4 racing. What do you do different driving style when you get into your Ultra 4 car from your short course car?
Well, I think that's the hard part. We got to separate it, because a short course car, you just run it as absolute hard as you can, wide open. In the Ultra 4 car, you're going through rocks the size of the car, so you got to preserve it. So I'm not going to lie, it's hard to turn that switch and do it. And we're a little bit new to the Ultra 4, so we're learning. And I love trying the new stuff. So it's like the new toy we have, and I love playing with it. And hopefully we're gonna keep going with that. Yamaha seems pretty excited about it.
Well, it's exciting to see you out here racing in both series, Ultra 4 and racing out here with Champ. Good luck out there this weekend on this championship weekend. Rodney Van Efferen, good luck.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Back to you guys.
Thank you very much for that, Pam. I am up here on the dais with Ken and Marty. We're talking Crandon World Cup, of course. So, Marty, talk a little bit about the impact that this race has on the point standing in the off-road series.
Yeah, so there's various things, but essentially the Champ Off-Road Series, which is the heart of this, which is short course off-road racing, they finish up all their points races tomorrow. So whether you're sportsman or pro, sportsman run today, sportsman run tomorrow. The pros only run tomorrow, and then they'll wrap up their 2024 season here tomorrow. And then, like I said, sportsmen will be crowned world champions here tomorrow. They'll win their rings, and then Sunday the pros do. And then on Ultra 4, they're still in the middle of their season, so there's points implications here. Class 11, it's more of a, we're going to go racing. There isn't really a series for that. Yeah, so that's how that works. But, like I said, in a lot of ways, it's great to see the points championships come down and everything, but there's also this sense of heightenedness because, it's the last race of the year, but it's also Crandon, and you want to win a world title. So there's like double stress, and you can see it on the prep, on the trucks, on the cars. You can see it on the bodies. You can see it. Everybody elevates their game when they get here. Social media is everything gets elevated because it's the Indy 500 of the sport. So we're interested in watch some of that stuff tomorrow. Tonight, watching, you'll see it. It's going to be really interesting to watch some of these drivers get down to it.
There's a key ingredient here too that Marty's very well aware of. First of all, it's the biggest race of the year, and it draws trucks that you don't see the rest of the year. So we were talking about the car count in Pro 2, same way Pro 4, Pro Lite. I mean, it's going to be larger than it ever has. Here's the key part. He talked about championship Saturday. They're going to crown champions tomorrow. It's their last points race.
Right.
But the only way you can race on Sunday is if you race on Saturday. So you have all of these extra trucks that haven't been competing, and now they're going to get right in the middle of this championship and can really dice things up.
Ken Stout, Marty Fielka, appreciate you guys joining us here on the live stream. That's going to wrap it up, and we encourage you to now tune over to MAV TV on Linear, where we will be continuing our coverage from here at Crandon, Wisconsin for the Crandon World Cup. See ya just on the other side of this break.
Okay.
2 minutes in, we're on Big Mav.
I'm out, right?
Marty Reed was just outside of the door a few minutes ago, so I'm guessing you planned on getting him up here.
You guys are having an opening first, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay. Chris, hopefully that actually added some questions for you.
Definitely did.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, brother.
Are you familiar with Marty?
No.
Marty Reed? Longtime broadcaster, ESPN, Indianapolis 500, NHRA. I think he did some NASCAR. I don't really recall. He owned Core Championship Off-Road Racing, started it in 1998, and owned it till 2005 or 6, and he sold it to the Baldwin. So he brought TV to Crandon, so very instrumental.
Got it. Okay.
It is. How's the hotel?
Wonder if there's any waters. Can we get any waters?
There we go.
Are we going to have you back on at some point? Okay. Cool.
Grab us a couple of waters if you can find a couple. Be wonderful.
What's up, everybody, and welcome to the 55th Lucas Oil Crandon Labor Day Parade from right here in Crandon, Wisconsin. Normally this town has a population of about 1,800 people, but this weekend we expect 60,000 people to descend here on Crandon for what is the biggest off-road racing weekend of the year. My name is Chris Jacobs. I'm honored to be your host here on MAV TV, and I am joined by Ken Stout. Ken, great to see you, man.
Yeah, absolutely. What a wonderful weekend to be here. Welcome, my friend.
Thank you.
This is a big dog, man. This is the Mac Daddy of short course off-road racing. I know you're a gearhead. You do some great stuff. Some of your shows are incredible, but I don't know if you've been part of the short course community yet, but this is an eye-opener.
Not yet. This is trial by fire. Yeah, as Ken said, this is my first experience here in Crandon, and it's amazing. I mean, I'm looking to my right as far as I can see, to my left as far as I can see are people, off-road racing fans who are here to check out the parade. All the participant trucks are lined up along Main Street, and people, which is really cool, they get a chance to get up close to not only the trucks, but also the drivers too.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. Yeah, this morning at 8:30, all the racers lined up. They had a police escort from the track here to downtown, so all the race trucks come out on the road and drive down here, and they park on either side. I mean, the beauty of our sport is the fans can get really close in the pits anyways. You can get up to the barricades of the team and look right at it. But here, you're right. I mean, they can touch them. The drivers and teams are out here. 9 times out of 10, they'll put the kids inside of the seat, let them sit in it. It's all part of the fun here. So, yeah, you're right. They bring them down here, park on either side. This place is packed. We had a little bit of rain earlier this morning, but it has cleared up a bit. And typical Crandon Labor Day weekend, the fans are here, man. This place is packed.
They call this event the Super Bowl of off-road racing, and for good reason. It's not only worth the points this weekend, but also the prestige of winning the Crandon Cup on Sunday. We're going to have a full weekend of racing coverage for you here on MAV TV. And Ken, let's tell the people viewing at home a little bit about what they can expect. Talk about the different classes that are racing and what days those classes go on, and then, of course, the culmination on Sunday with the Crandon Cup.
Well, there's 15 hours of live programming, so that's unprecedented in one weekend here in short course off-road racing. So we're going to bring you a lot of racing action. The Ultra 4s will be out here, the beautiful rock garden that they'll be running through at speed, which blows my mind every time I see those trucks go through there. So we'll have a little bit of something here for everybody. There's kid carts that work all the way up to the Pro 4s. There's Pro Lights, there's Pro 2s, 750, 800 horsepower Pro 2 trucks, meaning two-wheel drive. And then, of course, the kings of the sport are the Pro 4s. They are all-wheel drive and producing upwards to 1,000 horsepower. So a lot of different style of racing, but this is sprint racing. We had mentioned it before. We were on a live stream a little bit earlier if you've just joined us here on MAV. These are drastically different than desert trucks. They're not the same by any stretch of the imagination. These are all-out sprint races. Think of Supercross for trucks, maybe mix in some UFC, because it is elbows up. It is door-to-door. They are banging, I mean hitting, punting people. People are flipping. It's sassy, man. It gets pretty sporty.
Well, rubbin's racing, as they say, right, in many of these different divisions of off-road racing. And you mentioned the difference between a desert-oriented truck, where it's really about reliability and distance and having to deal with the terrain. Here on the short course track, you're talking about speed and agility, because you're mainly just in the dirt and not having to deal with a lot of rocks and whoops and things like that.
Yeah, and racers are racers, right? So you talk about the reliability of the trucks in the desert. They want the same thing here, but they know that window is smaller, so they will push it and get everything out of it. I mean, the goal is to last for 3 races. You have a points race on Saturday for the pros, and then you have the Crandon World Championship race Sunday morning, and then later that day you have the Cup race. So that thing has to last for 3 races. They're 15-minute sprints. It doesn't sound like much, but they put them right on the ragged edge. So hopefully at the end of the Cup race, that thing is junk, and you got to take it back and rebuild everything and get it ready for the next sprint race, because you don't want to leave anything on the table. But, yeah, drastically different. They are lighter trucks. The minimum weight for the Pro 4s is 4,000 pounds. much different than the trophy trucks, as you talked about before. They're low, they squat, they're planted. When they land, they just squat, and they pitch them into a turn. They back them in like a sprint car, a non-wing sprint car, versus the trophy trucks that you see, or the big desert trucks that you see with all the travel. And when they go into a turn, they roll, this big, slow, rolling monster, you know. But that's what they need to survive out there in that world. So just completely different disciplines.
Well, you know, we talked about this being the big event of the year, the Crandon weekend here, the Labor Day weekend, the 55th weekend of this series. And we're going to get ready to just take a quick break here on MAV TV. But when we come back, we're going to talk about some of the competitors that you will see this weekend and who we are expecting to shine here in Crandon.
So, FYI, I can't hear Steve when you're going to break, so I can talk right over it.
Yeah. So if I ever need to, you know, get you to stop, I'll just give you one of those. Yeah. How you doing, my man, Chris?
This Polaris Crandon World Championship preview show is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Crown Performance. Know what the pros know. Crown Performance brake lines. And by Polaris. Do more outside.
Welcome back, everybody, to our coverage of the Crandon Labor Day Parade here on MAV TV. My name is Chris Jacobs. I'm with Ken Stauda, and we are joined now by a very special guest, no stranger to the off-road community, a legend, if you will, the one and only Johnny Greaves. Good to see you, man.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
So what year Crandon is this for you?
This is getting close to 40.
Nice.
You know, I hate telling people that because it shows my age a little bit, but yeah, it's been like 38 years coming here, so love this place, though. Look at it. I mean, how can you go wrong?
It's really amazing. I mean, I'm about 39 years behind you in Crandon experiences. This is my first, and Ken and I have been talking a little bit about how things, you know, stay the same as much as they change. I mean, this is like a little preservation of Americana here at Crandon.
Oh, for sure. I mean, this town, on a regular week, you blow through here, there's like 1,500 people here, right? Then you come here on Labor Day weekend, and there's 70,000 people here. And they do such a great job at hosting it and putting on this parade so, you know, they can meet the drivers face to face, and we get to interact with our fans. it's just, I mean, where else can you do that? So, and the parade is so cool, and wait till you see some of the cool stuff that's going to be coming down this street.
Well, I'm staying in a hotel just down the road, and I literally opened my door this morning. It was the cars were coming in, and I was like, "Wow, this is cool." I'm
It's
in
a race
the
here.
immersion program.
Yeah.
What's some of your fondest memories of Crandon?
Oh man, I mean, it's hard to narrow it down to any of them, but I've had so many great memories here from my Pro Lite days on. But probably one of my greatest ones is my son and I, CJ. You know, when he started racing and he became the Pro 2 champ, we finally got to go head to head in the annual Cup race, and he's out front winning in the Pro 2, and here comes Dad, man, chasing him down, and I caught him on the last turn. And we came around that corner, and you know, anybody else, I would have put him away and took the win. But we raced clean across the line. I think he beat me by 3/100ths of a second. But so it went down in history. It was the closest race, you know, to ever happen. And obviously, father and son race, it doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, awesome stuff. And you brought so much to the table. You've been such a huge part of this event, going back to the Potawatomis that sponsored you for so many years. We had the ceremony last night. I want to talk about your relationship with Toyota too, because it is near 30 years that you've been racing with Toyota sponsorship behind you. That speaks volumes about who you are. But then the Potawatomis join in, and they're integrated in this entire community here.
Yeah, I mean, going back to my relationship with Toyota, I started, you know, just feeding them cassette tapes. You know, most people aren't even going to know what that is. And I would send it off to them. I'm the only Toyota out there in like a 40-car field of all Ford Rangers and some Chevy S10s and whatever. And, you know, they started responding, and it got on ESPN, and it just started gaining legs, right? And I was in the right place at the right time. They started helping me, and the program just escalated. Hey, you want to go Pro 2 racing? You want to go Pro 4 racing? And, man, it's been a great relationship ever since. And, you know, the best part about that deal, it started on a napkin. You know, I sat down with Greg Glander back in the day, and we wrote a little deal down on a napkin. And to this day, I don't have an official contract with them. They just keep our program going, and it's a great relationship.
I think Paul Doschel, I hear, is going to be here this weekend, and I believe the top dog there for marketing for Toyota. Great to have him out here at the event.
Yeah, Paul's a huge supporter of our program. He's a Greaves fan. I love that guy. You know, he's the one who gave me the pleasure of driving his FJ Bruiser down here, and I'm going to rip it up in the parade a little bit. But, yeah, Toyota's been a huge part. Same with Potawatomi. You know, we brought them on. They're still a big part of this whole event. And you know, we've moved on, and they don't really get into individual racers anymore, but they love this event.
Yeah, and Ken, you mentioned earlier on our live stream what a phenomenal display Toyota and TRD has here at Crandon. Some really cool custom FJs that I believe I saw at SEMA last year, and then of course their latest and greatest trucks. It's great to see that sponsor support for such a great event.
Yeah, it is. I mean, they've been behind us for so many years, and we always get all their techs out here, and you know, TRD support guys. But this is the first time we're gonna have some TMS you know, bigwigs out here, and the display is off the hook, you know. And when you see some of the cool stuff they brought, it's all the newest, latest, and greatest. You know, the Tundras and the Tacomas, and of course the cool FJ.
So are you kind of like the Cal Ripken of Crandon? Have you missed a year in all of those, or is the streak alive? Is the streak intact?
Since I came here in I don't even know what year it was, but let's just say it was 38 years ago, 39 I think. I have not missed a single Crandon. I've been here for everyone, and you know, I can pretty much name off everybody who works here and works on that track, and you know, I know half of their family. And
yeah, well, and I mean, you know, you mentioned CJ too. It really is a family affair for you guys, and this whole community has a real family feel to it. And Crandon is very emblematic of that. We saw that at the banquet last night, just how much love there is between the teams. Of course, a lot of competition, but at the end of the day, everyone's pulling for each other.
Yeah, you know, that's the greatest thing about our sport is, you know, you have a rough day and you need something that, you know, you just don't have along. You can go to the next guy that you compete against. You may have banged doors with him in that last race, and if he's got it, he'll borrow it to you, because we all want each other on the track. We want to race each other, and we want as many trucks out there, and we want to keep this sport strong. You know, it's been through its highs and lows, and it's actually, you know, it's growing a little bit again, and it's looking really steady, and it's a pleasure to be a part of.
Well, who are you looking forward to shining this weekend? Who are some of the competitors that you're interested as not just a driver but also a fan of the sport and seeing?
You know, in our class in the Pro 4, obviously, you know, CJ's the man to beat. I mean, I was the 7-time champion, and he comes along, he's got to knock that off. Now he's the 8-time champion, going for championship number 9, right? So he's obviously the favorite in Pro 4. But in Pro 2, man, it's my nephew, Kyle Greaves. He's in the hunt. Mickey Thomas, a lot of great drivers. You know, and there's some really cool names here in the Pro Spec and the Pro Lite. You know, that guys from different types of racing that have, you know, dabbled in this and they can't get enough of it.
I know you're a fan of Class 11. Do you enjoy checking those bugs out?
Yeah. At one point, I had somebody ask me if I wanted to rent one or ride along, and I watched the first race, and I was like, I really like watching it, but I'll stay right here. It looks brutal.
Johnny Greaves, thanks for joining us up here, man. A pleasure to get your insight. And right now we're going to throw it out to Pam Hall, who is with a special guest.
I am here with Chris Schaefer from Forest County. Chris, you are a very important person around here. You have a very important role within the Crandon community. I want you to let us know what all it is that you do for Crandon, because like I just said, you're a very important person.
Well, that's a big title, but my name is Chris Schaefer. I'm the CEO of Visit Forest County, and quite frankly, we just want to welcome everybody first and foremost to Forest County and to Crandon and the Crandon International Raceway to see the spectacle that's going on this weekend. So what I've been in charge to do here the last couple of years is take over our Chamber of Commerce, Visit Forest County, and try to infuse some extra excitement that's already into this whole ordeal, but get more people here, show everything that this county basically offers, from the wonderful people that come, from the great businesses, and try to get such a large economic impact that it can actually continue to make a big difference in our community.
Yes, and with this being the 55th Crandon International Raceway Labor Day weekend, the growth over the years and what you guys do for this, it's pretty awesome to see. It's got to be something that is close to your heart, being here and being so important in this community. And how do you feel exactly about how the growth has been going with Crandon over the last 55 years?
The growth is unbelievable, and quite frankly, there's just a sense of pride, and quite frankly, to be honored to be part of, you feel like you're part of the family. Knowing the Flannerys, working with them daily, everybody's just treated like a family member, and that's all we want all the visitors to feel as well. You're here, you're part of something quite special. You see, you're here, you're safe, everybody's just having a great time and supporting one another, and so that economic impact, it's great for 55 years, and to see what the next 55 are going to be, it'll be quite something. So it's quite frankly, it's an honor and a privilege.
It is definitely, it's an honor to be here and speaking with you right now. And what is so amazing about Crandon is this town is what, maybe a little over 2,000 people roughly, and the crowd that comes in here, it's pretty amazing to see. So let's talk about this for a minute. What is your favorite part about Labor Day weekend out here at Crandon?
Well, you're seeing it right now. The parade starts it off. I mean, it's absolutely wonderful. And you're right. I mean, the whole county's got about 9,000 total people in. From an economic side, we only have 17% of our whole county that's actually got taxable land. The rest of it is just all national forest. So we're very small, but we're also very big. We're big with just the hearts of the people that are here, the people that come here and support it. I mean, you just see people going round and round us that are here to spend and have a great time with their family all weekend. So, you know, it starts off with the parade today, but the racing is just top-notch, and quite frankly, it's just great to be around everybody and support everybody.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for taking the time, letting us know the impact that you have on this community, and it's time to enjoy this parade and get some racing going this weekend. But thank you, Chris, so much for talking.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Back to you guys.
Thank you very much for that, Pam, and we are just getting started here on MAV TV with our coverage of the Crandon Cup here from Crandon, Wisconsin. It's the 55th Lucas Oil Crandon Labor Day Parade. Everybody is out here enjoying it. The weather is perfect, and we're looking forward to a full weekend of amazing racing. So stick around for 15 hours of coverage over the next 3 days, and more coming at you right after this break. Welcome back, everybody, to Crandon, Wisconsin, here on MAV TV. We're here all weekend long with Ken Stout. We'll bring you all of the action, and all of the luminaries are here, including our next guest joining us on the stage right now. He's a legend both on the bike and in the truck. Ricky Johnson, good to see you, man.
Always a pleasure to see you, and Ken, here we go again,
Hey,
buddy. Here we go, one more time.
Well, hey, my first Crandon, certainly not yours. How many years is this for you?
I started racing here in '98, so it's been that long. Jimmy Johnson had a great reign in that Chevrolet, that Herzog Chevrolet. I jumped in. That was the very first year of Core when Marty took that over, went from Soda to Core. I was able to win the Rookie of the Year and the championship that year, so I'm very, very proud of that race against Scott Taylor, and the list goes on, Evan Evans and all that. And then I came back in the 2000s, 2008, 9, and 10, winning Pro 2 and Pro 4. But it has taken on a life of its own. It's awesome to be a very, 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 very small cog in this wheel. And as we talked about, I was an outsider, California guy, motocross, stadium trucks, and then coming back here, and you think it's just dirt, it's just racing, but then you learn how fast Jack Flannery is, and then how experienced Walker Evans is, and the guys that have been here, and said then to get to race with them, it was just it's awesome. But to see what the town has done, it hasn't gone without controversy and also heartache. But to see what it is now, I'm honored and proud to be a part of it.
As a racer, I know you come in and you analyze everything. It's just who you are anyways. But as a racer, when you come in here, how do you think the track is different than when you were racing in '98?
I don't think it's changed. I don't think really it's changed at all. If you look at technology, shocks and everything, but it hasn't gotten a lot rougher. And the guys sent it just as far back then. I think Jed Flannery has the record off of, I don't know what the name of the jump is, was the Traxxas Catapult. Then it was this and it was that. But anyways, they went as far, but as far as transmissions, now we got the 6-speed manual transmission where the guys can bang through the gears to help them be in there, where we had the traditional 248 Turbo 400. We had first, second, then third, so you had to deal with that kind of stuff. And so everybody's evolved their trucks, their tires, their suspension, the chassis, the design, traction to adapt to this. But as far as it goes, this has always been a video game for race drivers.
You mentioned winning in both the Pro 2 and the Pro 4 classes. What sort of mindset do you have to change jumping in from one truck to the next, or is it just like as soon as you're feeling the gears and stuff, you know which truck you're in?
Well, that's the thing. I'm working with a young driver named Johnny Holtz who's racing Pro Lite, Pro 2, and Pro 4. So in the Pro Lite and Pro 2, they have the manual transmission, but you have the gates that you have to shift. It doesn't shift on its own, but you have first, second, and third. And so, but then when you get into the Pro 4, he's got the sequential 6-speed, so you got to be in the gear, you got to drive it more aggressive. So the throttle input on a Pro 4, which Robert Stout is racing, and he'll tell you because he's done all of this stuff all around the world in road cars and everything like that. There is nothing that you drive more aggressive than a Pro 4. The throttle inputs, the steering inputs, the sidewaysness. Yes, sprint cars drive that sideways, but they're built for one thing, to turn left. Big stagger, wing, all these different things. Here, this is what racing, what every racer really, really wants to do deep down. It may not pay the money like IndyCar, Formula One, and NASCAR, but when you put a guy in here, like when we put Kurt Busch in here, he was like, oh my God, this is crazy, and I can't wait to go back. So to get to your answer, you're just more aggressive as you go. From Pro Lite, you don't have as much power. Then you got Pro 2, you got to be more finesse with the throttle. Pro 4, give it all you got.
Yeah, it's incredible, and you've done a magical job with that, being able to dance back and forth. I think it is a challenge. We've seen a few of those drivers. I think Carl Renezetter comes to mind, a guy that was able to win championships in both classes in the same season. It was always something I was always curious about as well, because you do drive them so differently. And I do remember Carl telling me, for a lap or two, I've even had him tell me, man, I forgot I was in the Pro 4, or I forgot I was in the Pro 2 thinking I was in the Pro 4, and you make a couple of mistakes, but eventually you get your head back in the game.
Well, and it's one thing to drive it from week to week. You hear now with the way the performance curve has gone on everything from motors, transmissions, tires, and not just this racing, but all racing, you have to be a specialist. Back in the day, you had the Joe Leonards, you had the Parnelli Jones, you had the AJ Foyts that drove everything. But the performance curve was more like this, a little more round that you could drive 105% and catch it. Now everything is so specialized, and so when you see somebody like a Carl Renezetter that goes out there and your throttle input and your steering input, everything going from one to the other, that's why also we put the Pro 2s before the Pro 4s, because it's always easier to be more aggressive on the gas and be more aggressive than you are to try to step back. Because if you go from Pro 4 to Pro 2, it's like, uh-oh, here we go. I'm on my way. Because how you save it a lot of time in a Pro 4, you'll see, throw it sideways and get on the gas, which you cannot do that in a Pro 2 because you're in the trees.
Ricky Johnson, thanks for joining us, man. We're going to be checking in with you all weekend long. Appreciate you joining us up here. And right now, we are going to go back out to Pam Hall, who is with the voice of authority on all things Crandon.
I am here with Cliff Flannery. Cliff Flannery, this is such an amazing event. 55 years in the making. I love hearing the stories about how this came about. But Cliff, what is your thoughts right now on how this parade is going and 55 years into Crandon?
I think I got to thank the good Lord to turn this day around. I mean, we were raining an hour ago, and now to turn it around and have Mad TV doing this live, this tops it. I mean, and when Marty Reed come to town for the first time, he boosted it for us, brought us some big drivers, and now with you guys coming and you see this in our little community, and everybody's enjoying themselves. I love kids, and this is a kid's game here where they can go around. These drivers are all good to them. Their equipment looks really good. I mean, it's shiny. Our sponsors are downtown here and everything, and if you don't like this, you didn't like your mother's milk. That's all I got to tell you.
That is, I have to agree with you on that. But Cliff, this is the 55th year. What are your thoughts? How do you feel inside about what has grown with this event over the last 55 years? Because this is you. This is the Flannery family and all of your crew.
It's a Flannery crew, but I got some good people working around. Marty Fiocco, he's got the ideals on what to do outside of racing. I'm the dirt guy on the track. That's all I've ever done for 55 years. I keep the track design. I changed some things there, and my son Jason and his daughters. That's what boosted it now in the last 3 or 4 years. But Marty and his wife doing what they're doing, she's given to him all summer long to us. And what Marty creates is unreal on this side of things. That's where he shines, and he really shines there. So, you know, I got a lot of good nonprofit organizations that we donate to that help us this weekend that put a lot of effort in to pull it off good. I mean, we're the world's champion, and we try to make sure that we shine like we should, shine like a world's champion. That when the peoples get their ring, the drivers, everybody's proud. They want one. So that's what I want, is everybody to want to come back. And I touch everything as much as I can, but you get 74 years old, you just get slow no matter what you do. But I got these young grandkids and everybody, and they're doing their job way better than I could do now.
Well, Cliff, thank you so much for giving us some information on the history and being so proud of this event. We're going to let you get going because you're a busy man, like you just said. You get out there in the dirt and play in the tractors too. But Cliff Flannery, thank you so much for putting on this event for the last 55 years. It's an amazing event and a bucket list item, so thank you.
Thank you, and Matt TV and everybody else that helped make this possible for this year. It's been great, and it's going to be a hell of a show out here this weekend. Like I said, I just got old too fast and smart too late. I would do a lot more, but thanks for coming out, everybody, and thank you people for helping us, and we love it to death.
All right, thank you, Cliff Flannery. Back to you guys.
Thank you so much for that, Pam. It's great to hear from Cliff. He's got to be so proud of what Crandon has become. And testament to its success are the hordes of people who are lining Main Street here in Crandon, Wisconsin, getting ready for another amazing weekend of off-road racing. The 55th, in fact. Stick around. Be back with much more from Crandon, Wisconsin.
Joe, water. Yep. Hand me your water, bud.
Hey, Marty.
Thanks, pal.
Hi. How you doing, my man? Chris Jacobs. Welcome back, everybody, to MAV TV's coverage of the 55th Lucas Oil Crandon Labor Day Parade. I am joined by my colleague Ken Stout, and we're having a ton of great guests today, including our next, the one and only Marty Reed. Marty, good to see you, my man.
Chris, nice to see you. Kenny, good to see you.
Hey, buddy. Hey, old boss.
Well, you've come a long way since that day.
You opened the door. I know you're kind of caught in the middle, but this has been a long relationship going back to 2002, and Marty started Core. We heard Ricky Johnson talk about it before, from soda to Core in 1998. And in 2002, he was responsible for bringing TV to Crandon and had ESPN, but it was morphing onto the sportsman side of things, was going to Speed, and he was a house ESPN guy, so he needed somebody to help out on Speed, and that opened up an opportunity for me. Made a phone call, and that was the start of my off-road career. So that guy is directly responsible for my involvement with short course. So, and I thank you very much.
And you're welcome. Thank you for all you did to make the shows work so well. And somebody just whispered that it's your birthday yesterday.
Well, it was, but you know, at some point in time, you don't. No, you don't need to sing, and nobody needs to know. So you quit at some point. You quit counting, So.
Well, you don't look bad for 70.
Yeah. Thank you very much, pal.
Hey, you thought you were going to escape without anything? Yeah, come on.
I think it might be good that I'm in between you guys. There might be some action here. Marty, thanks for joining us. And I've been asking our guests who are coming up on the stage with us what their fondest memories of Crandon is. You must have so many of them. Is it possible to narrow it down to just one?
No, because you're talking about the birth and the expansion and the growth of this place, and how it all happened was I took over production of off-road racing for ESPN in 1987, and we were entirely in the desert back then, and except for one race that Score did at Riverside International Raceway, and it was a short course race, and the ratings, people east of Colorado just didn't tune in for desert racing. They didn't understand the concepts of man and machine over the desert and over 1,000 miles or 500 miles. But they did understand short course. And I get a phone call from ESPN saying, you got to find more short course racing. The ratings were astronomical compared to where we were with desert. And it was across the board around the nation. And you got to remember, back then, it was just ESPN. ESPN2 hadn't been formed yet, so there wasn't, hundreds of channels like there are today. There weren't even more than, I think, about 15 or 16 at that time. So our ratings were important in that. And Olga Vernon was the head of General Tire Motorsports. She was the tire sponsor here at Crandon back then. And the marketing guy was Jim Conway, who owns Conway True Hardware. His son runs it and right here in town. And he flew out and showed me pictures, and back then he told me it was 100,000, and I didn't correct him, but I'd been to the Rose Bowl, so I know what 100. But it was at least 15 to 20,000 people, and this is without any television exposure. And I'm thinking, okay, let's go back and see if we can make it work from the camera angles, and how many cameras will it take, and that's how it started, and the exposure that it gave to this event just helped it grow exponentially, because the West Coast drivers, Walker Evans and Ricky Johnson and Jimmy Johnson and Robbie Gordon and all these guys that were named racers out west, they wanted to come back and race against the guys in the Midwest. And so we had this built-in rivalry, and it just kept growing and growing and growing. And I look around today, and it just blows me away. I mean, the improvements they've made to the facility every year, they've always reinvested in the product. And I think that's why they're successful. And it last night at the dinner, I said, it's not an event anymore. It's a happening. Yep. It's like the Indianapolis 500. People plan their calendar Labor Day weekend to be here because they want to be part of this happening.
You make a really important distinction between a race like the 1,000 or the 500 versus a short track race as far as excitement goes, because the endurance races, it really is man and machine versus the terrain, where here you're not only battling the track, you're battling all the other trucks on the track too, and that's what really makes it exciting, is that close-in racing.
Yeah, every person that watches racing knows what it's like to go wheel to wheel, fender to fender.
Yeah.
When you're in the desert, we would we would be amazed if we were able to get a truck passing another truck because they started at different intervals, and you had to have the helicopter in the right spot or one of your ground crews at the right spot, and there literally was no way you could cover 1,000 miles. You'd need 10,000 cameras,
right?
And but it really was a challenge, and short course racing just was so much more. I hate to say it, it was so much more exciting for the viewer at home because they could watch these guys going, holy smokes, there's fenders flying off, and they're still racing. Oh, my God, he rolled over, and he's still racing.
Yeah.
I remember the mud races. It seemed like every time I turned on the TV and I saw a short course, and I want to say Topeka for some reason, I don't know why, but I just remember it would be raining, and these things would be covered with mud. I mean, literally, I remember them, after I got involved, if it was going to rain or they had a mud race, the term was spring up. So they would literally change the springs in the truck and prepare them to carry another 1,000 pounds of mud.
And that's why the radiators were always behind you, because if you had a radiator up front, you weren't going to last very long because you'd overheat and you'd be out of the race.
But you just kept racing.
Yeah.
That was the beauty of it. They never canceled.
No. Actually, we did have to cancel once. We were doing the winter series out at Las Vegas Motor Speedway on their short track oval, which was hard-packed clay. And what had happened was, believe it or not, it was November, and it had snowed. And, they get snow like every 20 years or so. And it turned the track so slick that our emergency vehicles could not get around the track. The ambulance was just spinning.
Wow.
And if you remember at the time, Evan Evans, who was paralyzed from the chest down, was, I hate to say it, he was my benchmark. If we couldn't get to him safely, because if he rolls over, catches on fire, well, then there's no way we're racing. And that's the only time we cancel the race.
And the caveat to that is he rolled over and caught on fire more than anybody else in this series. I kid you not. I mean, if there was somebody that was going to flip and catch on fire, it was Evan. It blew my mind all the time.
He was
you guys were
racer.
always able to take care of him.
He was a hell of a racer. I mean, you talk about, everything was hand controls, and I mean, he was amazing.
And I don't remember what year it was, but he missed the championship with Scott Taylor by, I want to say, 4 points one
it
year.
was close.
I mean, he was a wheelman.
Yeah,
he could get
it was
done.
close.
Yeah, great stuff.
Marty, who are some of the drivers that you're looking forward to seeing perform this weekend? All the top guys are here. Who are you going to be paying attention to?
Well, I've got a little bit of bias because my heart's with the old guys that were with us in the beginning, and so I'll keep my eye especially on Johnny Greaves. I mean, Johnny and I go way back. I saw him last night, saw him today, and I think he's going to be up here with you guys here in the not too distant future.
He actually just was, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be watching him, but I want to see what these young guns can do too. I'm looking forward to see what the new talent coming up.
Awesome. You had a rich career, a rich broadcasting career from the Indianapolis 500, NHRA. Do you do some NASCAR as well?
My one distinction, it's a blessing and a curse. I'm the only person that's done all 6 major North American motorsports play-by-play. IMSA, the 3 NASCAR Touring Series trucks, Xfinity, Cup, IndyCar, NHRA. And the curse is that I'm not identified with one series. Because if I say, Dave McClellan, you're going to think NHRA. And if I say Ken Squire, you're thinking NASCAR. And if I say Marty Reed, it's like, well, it depends on which series was your favorite. And so, but believe me, I had a storied 31 years doing play-by-play.
I know you're a motorsports fan, but is there one that you have more passion for, a different discipline that you have more passion for?
No, honest to goodness. I mean, that I think was what made me successful, was because I was never bored. I was never just phoning it in. Every race was the race that weekend. It didn't matter what type of race it was. That was what was important. And, to do the best job that you could. And God knows I wasn't perfect. I mean, nobody is in this business. But especially when you've been on the air over what, 3,000 hours live.
I was going to say that's the beauty of live TV, right,
Oh,
Marty?
Yeah, I mean, you don't get a second chance.
Right, exactly.
You
But
just-
you know when it's going to be over, and that's
well,
a great thing.
Well, there were some days where,
Although racing can sometimes go
the
overtime.
year Dario Franchitti won the Indianapolis 500, we were on the air for 7 hours and 13 minutes. But who was counting?
Marty Reed, broadcasting legend, thank you for joining us here on MAV TV. All right, Pam, standing by with a special guest. Out to you.
I am here with Tyler Rimreed. Tyler Rimreed has been out here racing for 4 years. You do not have any racing experience prior to your 4 years of coming out here, and now you're out here in full force. Tyler Rimreed, give us a little bit of your history.
Hey Pam, thanks for having me. Yeah, we started out, we're just a small team from Nebraska. Came here 4 years ago, racing Champ Off-Road. Started out in side-by-sides and, kind of worked our way up into the trucks. This is my rookie year in Pro Lite. Been super thankful for all the help and support we've gotten along the way. Got to give big thanks to all the guys that have been in the sport for a while and the legends. The Greaves family really helped me out, take me under their wing, and kind of just helped me progress through this sport. Yeah, and it's just been a crazy ride since then.
And let's talk about that. The Greaves family, like you said, took you in under your wing. You guys started working together, racing together, but now let's talk about you. You are becoming a mentor in this sport as well. You don't only race just Champ, you race all over the country, and you also race with Nitrocross. So you have progressed from side-by-sides all the way up into these big shows like here at Crandon and now Nitrocross. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's just super thankful. My parents support this crazy dream of mine, and every kid that I meet and every other fan that I meet, it's just you got to share with them and let them know that we're trying to grow this sport. From racing side-by-sides to Pro Lights, we've raced King of Hammers the last 3 years and finished all 3 years. And then, yeah, we've gotten to race in crazy places like downtown Las Vegas for Nitrocross. That's just been insane, and getting to meet so many incredible people. And then this next season, we racing in downtown Miami. So, again, just getting to race in so many awesome places, and Crandon being one of the best in the country. So, again, I couldn't thank these people enough for putting on this awesome show and having this parade, and all the crazy fans that are so tough and show up to every race. It makes it worth it showing up as a racer. So, super thankful. I'm proud of where we've come in 4 years, and we got a lot left in the tank. So I'm ready to race.
Well, I love it that it's a family sport out here. You, your dad, and your mom is now racing as well in the Class 11. But Tyler Rimreed, I want to wish you good luck out there this weekend, and thank you so much for coming and chatting.
Thank you, Pam. Have a good one.
This Polaris Crandon World Championship preview show is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Rod End Supply. Bandito Yankee Tequila. Break out the Bandito.
Where the pipes come out the front of the bed.
Pretty awesome, huh?
That is so cool.
This Polaris Crandon World Championship preview show is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Yokohama Tire. Make every drive a performance. And by Lucas Oil. Keep that engine alive.
Welcome back, everybody, to MAV TV's continuing coverage of all things Crandon. We are live in Crandon, Wisconsin. I'm Chris Jacobs here with Ken Stout. Now, the name most associated with this weekend is Flannery. We just heard from the patriarch, Cliff Flannery, and we are now joined by his son, Jason Flannery. Good to see you, my man.
Good to see you. Good to see you. Glad to have you guys here. Great day in Crandon, Wisconsin.
So is it more of a sense of pride once this weekend kicks off, or relief that it's once again up and running?
I think the biggest thing is pride. Pride in this community and all the staff there, all the volunteers. All these drivers have committed everything to get here from all across the country. Guys come from overseas, Canada, everything. Got some guys from Mexico here. It's just amazing. It's amazing what my dad and the board for the last 55 years have been able to make. You know, and it's amazing. It truly is. This little community we got of 1,800 people, and here we are. It's just amazing.
The place keeps growing. Every time I come here, it's bigger, it's better. You continue to add on. I think you added on some sky boxes. A little bit earlier we were talking, we had Johnny up here, and we were talking about the TRD display, that entire manufacturer's midway. Talk to us about the future. Where do you see this going?
I think it's only going to continue growing. The more people we have here, the better racing that we have. These companies, these corporations they're looking and saying this is really something we want to be part of. And Marty Fioca, Marty's our promoter. Marty's been doing a great job, and Marty's that guy that wants to take it to the next level all the time. And he's showing these sponsors what we have to offer here, the people, and MAV TV coming in this weekend is just amazing. Amazing. Having us all live on TV is amazing.
Yeah, having a company like Toyota backing you guys up with a fantastic display here, it really kind of sets the tone for the midway that you've created there. It really is a huge vote of confidence that you're doing the right thing with this event, and it's growing in the right direction. I mean, you look to your right and you look to your left, and it's just a sea of people who are getting what they came for. You guys are putting on a wonderful event.
Yeah, and that's it. We're off-road racing, they're dirt people. They like the dirt in their teeth and in their eyes and in their hair, and that's what we got to offer here. And they're salt-of-the-earth people. They're great people. And this little community here we share everything we have, and we put everything into it. And people recognize that, you know.
Yeah, Jason Flannery, thank you so much for joining us up here on the stage. Continued success. We'll be hearing from you over the weekend. Right now we're going to throw it back out to Pam with another very special guest. Pam.
I am here with Vaughn Gittin Jr., known as a drift king, basically. But you've been racing Ultra 4 King of the Hammers for the past few years now. Yep. But you won the Crandon Cup last year. This year, what are your thoughts going into the Sunday's race to see if you can back up your win?
Yeah, well, I'm super pumped to be here. You know, look at this place. You know, Crandon is a vibe. And to get back-to-back would be unbelievable. It's been a dream of mine to win at Crandon. You know, it's a little bit shallow because Lauren had some challenges. So I'm hoping that we get a good head-to-head battle and may the best man on that day win. We're coming very strong, feeling super good, qualified first and second. So Fun Hour Off-Road team is off to a good start and just grateful to be here.
Yes, and it's awesome to see you guys out here in full force out here for the 55th Crandon World Cup. But here we are right now at the parade. Your cars are down there on display. I thank you so much for coming down here and talking with us, but can't wait to see who battles it out and ends up on that podium.
It's going to go down. It's going to be a good time, so see you later.
Well, thank you so much, Vaughn. Back to you guys.
Once we get out there, everything's a little more solidified.
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for that, Pam. We appreciate you sticking around with us here on MAV TV. You got just a few minutes left in our live coverage here from Crandon, and just in the last couple minutes, Ken, tell me again about what you're looking forward to most this weekend. Which class is it? What drivers are they?
Well, I'm partial. My son's racing in Pro 4, so I'm going to be invested in that one to a large degree. But in the interest of fair reporting, they are all spectacular racing. if you're a motorsports fan, you love racing, you'll be happy with whatever class you watch. And it just escalates throughout the day. The side-by-side classes are incredible, from the naturally aspirated versions to the turbocharged versions, which are very fast out here. Obviously, the trucks, as we talked about before, working up from the Pro Lites to the Pro 2s to the Pro 4s. And then we don't want to forget about Ultra 4, because those rock machines, rock racing, and the rock guarding that is here is spectacular. It'll happen at nighttime. You can't lose, man. Pick one and watch it.
Well, I think my pick for the weekend is R.J. Anderson in the Pro 4 class, and, of course, C.J. Greaves going against him. That's going to be a great, great battle. And let's not forget about Class 11, our VW class. That is always a crowd
bring
pleaser.
a smile to your face, guaranteed.
Absolutely. Well, don't forget to join us all weekend long here on MAV TV. Thank you very much to Pam Hall, Ken Stout. Thank you for joining me up here on the stage as well, providing great support and insight. So as I said, all weekend long here on MAV TV, get ready. It's going to knock your socks off here from Crandon, Wisconsin. It is the 55th Lucas Oil Crandon Labor Day Parade today, all culminating on Sunday with the Crandon Cup, where we see those Pro 2s and the Pro 4s going head-to-head.
Throwing down for the big money, man. Gloves come off, last race of the year. Bring it home in a basket. Doesn't matter, man. There's only one position that counts.
All right, off-road fans, this is the place to be this weekend, right here, live from Crandon, Wisconsin on MAV TV. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next time.
So long.